Hello and welcome to the New World Review, your source for everything anime and manga, and today we're actually embodying that name for quite possibly the very first time on this channel, because as I'm sure you're all aware, this world is currently facing some very dark times, and a lot of people are being advised to stay at home, which I'm sure for most of you probably isn't all that different from your regular lifestyle. I mean, I for one am quite glad to know that the technical term for my own lifestyle is called social distancing, but as safe as that strategy is, it does bring with it some problems such as boredom and general morale. But luckily, the world of anime and manga is here to help. In fact, providing an escape from the outside world is what I believe anime and manga does best. And if there was any silver lining to our current situation, it's that a whole ton of you now have the opportunity of a lifetime to delve into some nice deep material. And what I'm going to present you with here today are 10 series that you can sink your teeth into during quarantine, lockdown, isolation, or basic distancing. And I'll tell you right now, most of these are going to be long form series, because that is very much the point. A short and sweet experience is nice, but filling time is also integral, and I believe I have the correct candidates to do exactly that. So with that out of the way, let's begin. Welcome to the New World Review's Top 10 Quarantine Series. And starting things off, we're going to look at Haikyuu, a sports series to delve into, which might be nice because it gives us a chance to live vicariously through the wonderful world of volleyball. Now in regards to this, I must say that I myself was not a fan of sports anime until I started watching Haikyuu. This pure gem really opened my eyes to the potential of sports series with impressively fleshed out characters, all of whom you will love to death, and a superb sense of drama, far more than you would think capable of a high school volleyball club being able to generate. And the best part is, if you are not a volleyball fan, don't worry, you will be. Haikyuu takes a very nice approach to the sport itself, introducing newer viewers to its intricacies gradually, but also managing to keep up a sense of excitement and stakes at every level. And let me tell you, if you are not on the edge of your seat with your eyes wide open during the climax of some of these matches, then you are probably just not human. So I highly recommend starting with the anime, which currently has 3 completed seasons and a 4th one currently airing. But in addition to that, there are also 42 manga volumes, which equates to almost 400 chapters of fantastic material to delve into, and in general provides a wonderful investment opportunity for your newfound wealth of time in this climate. But next up we have Yu Hakusho, a classic series from the early 90s, also known as undisputedly the best decade, which very basically follows the story of a delinquent named Yusuke who gets killed in an accident but is offered the chance to return to the world of the living by completing a series of tasks, granting our charming delinquent the title of Underworld Detective. However, from there, Yu Hakusho takes some fairly incredible turns and becomes a profound battle series, and let me just say, if you like tournaments, well, then this is the series for you. Alongside Dragon Ball, Yu Hakusho is well known for its exploration of this format, with the Dark Tournament in particular being not only a highlight of the series, but a highlight of my entire childhood. I will say this though, because this is an older shonen, there may be aspects of it that you might find a bit, tropey, but Yu Yu Hakusho possesses such an incredible nostalgic charm that any of those issues very much fall by the wayside. And in terms of length, this series offers you 114 episodes, with almost none of them being filler, which is actually kind of shocking for a 90s shonen, but it leaves you with that nice lean experience. If you're more interested in reading it though, then Yu Yu Hakusho will provide you with 175 manga chapters, which while being less than half of that of Haikyuu, is still a very sizable experience, and one that you may not have been willing to give a chance in what was your normal life. But now is the time. Moving to number 8 though, we have JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Now here is a series that I've only recently gotten into myself, because yes, it is a bit of an ask, as it does consist of 126 manga volumes if you want to go down that route. However, if you're more of an anime person, then we do have 4 seasons of very well animated material that covers the first 5 parts. In parts you say, well, what's that about? Well, the basic idea of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is that this is an intergenerational anthology, which first follows a man named Jonathan Joestar, and then goes on to feature his descendants in a very strange journey through time, in which essentially anything can happen. And so each part will present you with something radically different, be it the main character, or the JoJo if you will, and even the storytelling genre itself changes completely from part to part. So I am convinced that somewhere in this massive material, there is something for everybody. Whether you're keen for an action adventure in Egypt, solving a mystery in a small Japanese town, working your way up the ranks of a mafia organization, or just a good old jaunt in the Old West. And that's just a handful of options that this will present you with. But I placed JoJo's Bizarre Adventure here today because the length of this series is one of the most prohibitive that we are going to feature on this list. Most everyday people after a certain age simply do not have the time to commit to an experience like this. But I would highly recommend at least giving it a go, and also not judging it too harshly on part 1. Just give it the chance to get to part 2, and from there, enjoy this wacky quest. To number 7 now, and I would like to present you with Dr. Stone, Ohayo Sakai, good morning world. Right, so now for something completely different, and the basic premise of this series is a mysterious apocalyptic event has occurred on Earth, and almost 4,000 years later, a genius named Senku and a selection of high school associates emerge from their stony prisons and find themselves with the mammoth task of rebuilding society. And what follows is a swift journey through human history from the perspective of science, and it is enthralling. And I want to make it very clear that Senku is not your year 10 physics teacher, as Senku is actually interesting and applies his knowledge with a large degree of entertainment and dramatic impact. And you will be amazed at the kind of things that can be made from scratch, whether it be relatively simple stuff like conjuring gunpowder, or unimaginably complex tasks like building a mobile phone. Now, Dr. Stone has one full anime season available, which is a great place to start, but following that there is also a ton of further content to pursue in the manga, which I would highly recommend because the art of this series is a marvel in and of itself. Boichi is without a doubt one of the finest aesthetic craftsmen of our time. But more importantly, Dr. Stone is a fairly light-hearted adventure which focuses on the power of humanity to overcome any trial that it is issued with, which is probably appropriate now more than ever. But putting that aside and moving into number 6, we have Gintama. So this series is quite the beast to get involved in, so much so that I have never come to a point where I have fully consumed it. But the basic idea is that Gintama is a comedy set in an alternate Edo period of Japan, which is currently under the rule of aliens. And I feel like the best way to describe Gintama would be odd. Very odd. And in some cases, I can imagine that the series would be a very acquired taste. But hey, we're in no rush and we've got some time to expand our horizons, with Gintama going on to offer you a pretty staggering over 700 manga chapters, as well as 367 anime episodes. So that's certainly something to really sink your teeth into. Be aware that Gintama is primarily a gag series that as time went on did develop a decent dramatic aspect to it, but it very much enjoys the art of parody, and you will more than likely recognize a ton of your favorite series at play at some stage in this massive beast of a property. But once again, the fact that Gintama has a comic focus can only help in these very serious times, although if you were keen to pursue something a bit more on the dark side of the scale, then the perfect thing for you is coming right up in the form of Berserk. So while everything else on this list has more of an all-rounder appeal, here we are with a more mature story to say the least. Berserk is what I would probably call the king of dark fantasy. It presents us with an unrelentingly brutal yet marvelous world that is nigh on impossible to take your eyes and minds away from. And a lot of that has to do with its famed art, which I'll say right here and now. Berserk has the best art in the entire manga medium period. Kentaro Miura has this innate mastery of light and shadow that allows this world to become so tangible even in manga format. And actually for this series, I would insist that you stick to reading the manga, because Berserk has had something of an unfortunate anime history, with the first outing being the 1997 version, which, well, it hasn't aged well. And then there's a trilogy of movies which are not the worst things in the world. But then there's also the 2016 anime, which happens to be one of the greatest abominations known to man. So it just really is a much better idea to stick to the manga. Just be aware though, this world is cruel and unforgiving. Do not expect a happy ending, do not expect any form of justice, but do expect one of the most legendary stories that the manga medium has to offer. But if going that dark isn't quite your thing, then let's step back into the light with number 4 being Gurren Lagann. So here is the shorter series I'll be bringing your attention to, which sits at 27 episodes, but I feel like it's more than worth a mention here if you haven't seen it. And you know what, even if you have, just go and rewatch it. It's great. Gurren Lagann is a powerful experience by Gainax, featuring the story of two young humans living underground who embark on an epic journey that will consistently blow your expectations away. And I really wanted to include Gurren Lagann here because this series is optimism incarnate. It's wacky, it's dramatic, and it's just plain inspiring to watch these characters evolve and pierce the heavens with their determination in life. Gurren Lagann is all about doing the impossible, seeing the invisible, and most importantly, fighting the power. And honestly, just go and watch it. It's only 27 episodes, and it may very well leave an incredible impact on your life, as it did with mine. But for something a bit longer, let's highlight number 3, which I'm going to say is Naruto. And now here's an interesting one, because I would never claim that Naruto was one of my favorite series in the world, and under regular circumstances I would feel pretty guilty about putting someone on the path of 72 manga volumes, or potentially over 700 anime episodes, in regards to a series that I wasn't entirely confident about, but that worry is no more right now. And as much as it's pretty popular to crap on Naruto, this is a defining shonen series of our generation, and there is very good reason for its global mega success. At the center of all of which is a young ninja boy with a very simple yet ambitious dream of becoming Hokage. And from there, we are taken on a very long journey with a whole host of likable characters combined with a super schmick art style. There really is no reason not to read or watch Naruto, or at the very least give it a shot. I'm not going to claim that it's the greatest thing ever because I don't believe that myself, but it's still an undeniably fantastic experience, and one that will most certainly keep you busy for quite a while to come. And if that doesn't take your fancy, then let's look at number 2, which is Hunter x Hunter. And this one is probably less than surprising, given that Hunter x Hunter content pretty much completely dominates this channel. But seriously, just start this series already if you have not. Hunter x Hunter begins with the simple premise of a boy who strives to become a hunter in order to find his father. But it becomes so much more than that. This series simply is not what you think it is, and it will shock you with the turns it takes, both in terms of plot and characters. Hunter x Hunter to me is just one of those supreme existences that is so hard to compare to anything else because it is incredibly unique, and given that it sits at 148 episodes of the 2011 anime version, which is my recommendation to go on, I think that yes, it is a decent time investment, and there's also a ton of manga material that goes past the anime events. So in conclusion, Hunter x Hunter, just do it. But my ultimate recommendation is still to come, in the number 1 spot being One Piece. So all of my life, the one thing I have consistently heard from people I've tried to recommend One Piece to is that it's just too long and that they don't have the time to commit to it. Well, this is a message to everyone I have ever known, which is that I need to tell you right here and now that you no longer have that excuse. Haha. And I've made a lot of pretty big claims in this video, and I am about to make another one, because One Piece is pretty undisputedly the greatest manga series to have ever existed. The anime, well, that's a different story. It has its issues, a lot of issues. So I want to focus on the manga here, which follows a band of pirates, each with their own specific dream to accomplish through a world that will completely stun you in terms of both its size and depth. There has never been anything like One Piece before, and there will never be anything like it again. It is a monumental achievement of humanity that is not only far and away the best-selling manga series of all time, but also the 3rd highest-selling comic series of all time in general, and is poised to take out Batman's number 2 position imminently. So yes, the art is a bit goofy and takes some getting used to, but when it comes to manga, One Piece is the experience that I would strongly urge you to give a chance to, and 99% of you will not regret giving it that chance. That I can guarantee. But what do you guys think? Please do leave your quarantine series recommendations in the comments below, and if you'd like to see more anime videos, then feel free to check out my other stuff or even subscribe to the channel for regular anime greatness uploaded straight into your YouTube feeds. But for now, this has been the New World Review, and I'll see you next time.